Today you completed lesson number 4. By the end of this lesson, the goal was that you can use phrases like greater than, less than, or opposite to compare rational numbers. Our second goal was that you can compare and order rational numbers. In today's examples, we saw ordering from least to greatest. An example is if I told you to order these rational numbers from least to greatest. And today we learned the tip of always using a number line to help us get all of our numbers organized from least to greatest. So, if I had this as a problem, I can draw my number line. In the middle, I write 0. And to help me get the number line started, I can write -1, -5, and even -10. If I go to the right side of 0, I can write the same numbers, 1, 5, and 10. This way, I can start plotting down my numbers. So, in this example, my first number is a fraction. A fraction that I can think of as a decimal. -1/4 is the same as -0.25. So I start at 0, and because it's negative, I know I will have to move to the left. I am moving to the left, and I know that -0.25 is before I reach -1. Think about this as -25 cents. That's before -$1. So I'm going to go ahead and plot -0.25. However, I am going to write it as the fraction, the way it's written in the problem. -1/4, and I'm going to circle it so that I can remember that's the number that comes from my list. Okay, next number is 8. There is no negative sign, so it's a positive 8. I'm going to start at 0, and I am going to move to the right. I know 8 is past 1, past 5, but before 10. So I am going to go ahead and write 8 over here and circle it. My next number is another fraction, 18/4. And this I recognize as an improper fraction. And like we did in one of the activities, I can rewrite this as a decimal using long division. So I'm going to take it down here. And I am going to write 18/4. And inside goes 18, outside goes 4. And I'm thinking, how many times does 4 go into 18? And I know that is 4 times. 4 times 4 is 16. I subtract. 18 minus 16 is 2. I'm going to put my decimal, add my decimal and a 0. And I'm going to bring down my 0. Now I have 20. Before thinking how many times does 4 go into 20, I am going to rise my decimal and now say 4 goes into 25 times, because 4 times 5 is 20. In this case, I'm done. I don't have a remainder. And I can think of it as, I can think about 18/4 as 4 decimal 5. And now when I go into my number line starting at 0, I know 4 decimal 5 is past 1, but right before 5. So I'm going to go ahead and plot it right here. 4 decimal 5. But I have to remember that I have to keep it in the same form as the original. So I'm going to write above it 18/4 and circle that one to remember when I write my list. My next number is -17 decimal 5. Because it's a negative, when I start at 0, I'll be going in the left direction. -17.5 I know is further to the left than -1, further to the left than -5, further to the left than -7. So that means that I might have to extend my arrow here just a little bit more. And I know that -17.5 would be past -10 to the left. So I'm going to go ahead and plot -17.5 and circle it. My last number is -7. So I am still on the left side of my number line. I start at 0, and I know that -7 is past -1 to the left. I continue to the left. I will pass -5, continue, but not past -10. So -7 goes somewhere here, and I circle it. Okay, now I am ready to make my list. And I can make my list in this space over here, starting with the negatives, because these are the numbers with the least value. So the first number I have is -17 decimal 5. Write it down and cross it out in the original to make sure that I have included all my numbers. The next number I have is -7. I write it down and I cross it out. The next number I have is -1/4. Write -1/4, cross it out. And the next number I have is 18/4. I write that down, 18/4, and cross it out. The last number I have is 8. I'm going to write 8 and I'm going to cross it out. This way, I know that I have included all the numbers in my list. So, my final answer for this problem would be this order here, from least to greatest. The other goal for your lesson was to use phrases like greater than or less than or opposite to compare rational numbers. So for example here, if I told you, go ahead and compare -1/4 and 18/4. Sometimes with fractions, our brains get a little scared. You're like, how am I going to compare -1/4 and 18/4? However, don't let your brain get too scared, because you can use what you know about negative numbers. Anytime a fraction, a decimal, a whole number is negative, that means it is to the left of 0. It is less than 0. So therefore, whatever kind of form it's in, that negative number is already less than that positive number. So right here, I can write in less than. this helps me write my sentence now. Negative 1/4 is less than 18/4.